30/30 Publishing. What's significant about 30/30? I get asked that all the time. And for me, it signifies hope, the belief, the understanding that something is always working, even when we don't see it, right? I remember I was in college and I just broke my ankle and it was a really, really tough time. A freshman in college, and I was like, where, is my dad, right? Like he got drafted to the NBA. He was a former college player, and I knew for certain that, like, if my dad was here, I would be in a different situation. Life would look differently for me. And so that night, there was an event on campus, and I took my frustration out on someone I shouldn't have. And I was cursing. I was going through all these emotions because I was frustrated. It was a downtime in my life. And when I got home that night, honestly, I was in tears because of how I treated this person. And I'm like, man, my mom didn't raise me this way. I was pretty ashamed of myself on how I behaved. And then that night I went to sleep and I woke up and I had a dream. And in the dream, my dad was in the dream and I was playing basketball for Duke. And I hit the game-winning shot. And right after and I remember seeing my dad in the dream and walking off the court, we just kind of stopped. And I woke up. I woke up in tears, and it was comforting. The dream was comforting, knowing that my dad was there, and I felt like, you know what, he sees me. And now for a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's a dream. People have dreams, but that was significant for me. Then that morning, I went to my multicultural director's office. He had a package for me. He was telling me to come by his office for a while. And this morning, I decided to go by there and pick up this package. I opened it up, and there was a letter from someone who went to school with my dad. And he said, hey, John, Barry told me that you were going to the school. I went to school with your dad, and I want to tell you, he was such a leader. He was so influential in my life and others. And I remember there was a time that there was a young lady in the Commons, and she treated him really poorly in front of everyone. And he had every right to go off on her or treat her away, and he didn't. He used that moment with such grace. And there was things like that about his behavior that I'll never forget, and I want you to know that. So now I'm feeling terrible because I just cussed somebody out the night before. And but it was a great moment. But what was amazing is that she put so many articles, and here I am in college, and I've never read an article about my dad playing basketball. And it was so cool to see 1975, Broussard get drafted alongside Bill Walton, or Broussard scores 37 points in a game in college. And I'm like, oh, this is such a cool moment. But then I start looking at the pictures, and there was a picture where it says Broussard soars in the air for 2, and he has on number 30. And I started looking at all the pictures, and he was number 30 in every single picture. And I've never seen my dad in a basketball uniform until college. And I started playing basketball in middle school, and I put on number 30 since the day I picked up a jersey, and I still wear it. I was wearing it in college. And so that's what 30/30 signifies. That's what it means to me, that life doesn't always give you in every detail. It's not going to communicate, hey, here's what's going on. But behind the scenes, you have to hold faith. You have to believe in hope. You have to understand that, you know what, your life has meaning, and there's a purpose behind it, something happening inside of you, even though you don't see it visibly. So that's what the company, the brand, who I am to the core, I want to be able to extend that. I have a responsibility to be able to help others see the better tomorrows and get through whatever storms that they may be facing that day.